Welcome back, our dear guests. We see some familiar faces. And for those who just recently joined, welcome to our Divine Indonesia Pavilion. So this session will be talking about mangrove ecosystem governance and rehabilitation, implementing commitment and enhancing climate resilience. So mangrove is a coastal ecosystem that supports our life in many ways, including supporting Indonesia's commitment to climate change mitigation. Therefore, conservation of mangrove forests is very, very important as it helps in reducing GHG emissions. So this session, we will learn the approach to improve policies, strategies, and practices on mangrove management. At the same time, review the existing collaboration framework and platform to improve coordination, share learning, and cooperation on mangrove management. So to commence our discussion today, let's welcome our moderator. He's the Director of Watershed Management from MOEF. Please step forward, Bapak Dr. Saparis Sudaryanto.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Sapari Sutaryanto. I'm a Director of Watershed Management under the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. We are going to the mangrove panel session this afternoon. In my opinion, of all of us understood that mangrove has an important role in mitigating and adapting climate change. And Indonesia has a ambiguous mangrove restoration. We have 600,000 hectares to rehabilitate mangrove until 2024. And various instruments already prepared to ensure that our program can be implemented in the field. We develop one map mangrove, we develop mangrove landscape unit, and so we develop related regulation in line with mangrove. For the time being, we are going to hear presentation from 4 presenters. And I think before they present their idea, we invite our DG, Ibu Dirjen. We invite our DG to Ibu Dirjen to give a keynote speech. Time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Dr. Saparis. Honorable representatives of UNFCCC member states, representatives of UN bodies, climate and mangrove experts from all over the world, and all other participants of this session, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Good afternoon to all of you. It is an honor for me to join and welcome you all in this meeting, in this important occasion, in this beautiful place in Dubai. Allow me to give a traditional rhyme, call it pantun in Indonesia, to be on opening speech. Walking through the moment, to keep my mind abreast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the special session on mangroves in this beautiful place. Allow me to start these remarks with the importance of mangroves. Mangroves can be broadly defined as woody vegetation types occurring in marine and brackish environments. They are generally brackish environments. They are generally restricted to the tidal zones. Mangroves provide essential ecological, economic, and social services, among other providing food, maintaining water cycles, assessing for waste from land-based course after ecological balance, and providing livelihood directly and indirectly to millions of people surrounding to the coastline. Mangrove have been one of focal points of human activities in some regions. Last but not least, with the high capacity of carbon sequestration and stock, mangroves ecosystem is an important contributor for achieving the nationally determined contribution concerning our effort on climate change mitigation, particularly in the sector of forest and other land use. Besides the important functions of mangrove, there are conditions that we need to pay attention to. In several parts of the world, there has been a decline in mangrove area and degradation of mangroves ecosystem, such as exploitation of mangroves for wood, charcoal, aquaculture, and other productive uses that are carried out on the basis of narrow economic evaluations, which only focus on a single use of the mangroves without careful attention to the environmental or ecological considerations. These situations, in turn, will have negative impacts to the coast and community, such as coastal abrasion, decreasing of fisheries productivity, and decreases of other potential economy and the people welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, concerning this, the government of Indonesia have paid attention to managing mangrove properly through developing governance and seeking to improve conditions at the field level, such as by mangrove rehabilitation and conservation. In Indonesia, we have target to rehabilitate 600,000 hectares of mangroves. Indonesia efforts, among others, increasing of public awareness, enhancement of community knowledge and skills on rehabilitation and sustainable use of mangrove. Issuing presidential regulation regarding National Agency on Peatland and Mangrove, or BRCM. Issuing National Roadmap on Mangrove Rehabilitation 2021 to 2023. Preparing government regulation on mangrove ecosystem protection and management, establishing national and provincial task force, developing database and information system, including preparation of national mangrove map, integration of mangrove management plan into national and subnational development plan, including spatial planning, development of schemes for handling issues such as territorial conflict and land use change, development of collaboration with non-government parties, as well as development of schemes on guideline and on application of mangrove carbon valuation. In this endeavor, we realize that we need a lot of learning, and we view that key stakeholders of the conference are representing many parties that have specific related knowledge and experiences to be shared. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we can strengthen our collaboration, implement the activity properly to provide benefits for the advancement of mangrove management and all other efforts for sustaining the environment and to achieve the community welfare. At the end of my speech, I will close it with another rhyme or pantun again. For bekantan jumping between mangrove trees, looking for food and naughty others. For sustaining our planet and the ecosystems, let us enhance our cooperation, leaving the best for the future generation. I thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the nice speech. Applause for our DG. Yeah. Before we start panel session, allow me to play the video. My colleagues, please.
Mangrove ecosystems are closely related to climate change. In the function of adaptation and mitigation to climate change, the existence of lush mangroves in coastal areas can increase the resilience of coastal communities to climate change and minimize the impact of natural disasters such as tsunamis, storms, and waves. Mangrove acting as the lungs of the world through the absorption and storage of blue carbon stores 5 times greater than normal forests. And an estimated 3.14 billion tons of blue carbon are stored in Indonesia's mangrove forests. As the country with the largest mangrove forests in the world, mangrove conservation efforts in Indonesia are a major focus of the global climate change program. This effort is also expected to accelerate the achievement of Indonesia's greenhouse gas emission reduction target, which has been stated in the nationally determined contribution, namely reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 31.89% with its own resources and 43.20% with international assistance.
Oh, okay.
Ministry of Environment and
Give applause
Forestry,
to the video.
Directorate General of Watershed Management
Right now, I
and
invite the
Forestry.
presenter to join me in the stage. I invite Ibu Inge, Director of Mangrove Rehabilitation under the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, to join me. And also I invite Pak Suwek Nyo from Peatland and Mangrove Restoration Board. I invite Mr. Maurice Andrew Rawlins from World Bank. And the last, I invite my colleague, Dr. Wawan, Dean Faculty of Social and Politics, Kacamata University. Various aspects and program has been presented by Ibu DG, our DG, Ibu Tiamurtinense. And right now, we give Ibu Inge to present their idea about the policy and governance, properly governance to implement mangrove rehabilitation in the field. Ibu Inge, the time is yours. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Pak Dr. Saparis. Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, selamat sore. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is an honor for me to join this session to explain not as an expert, just to share our experience on developing governance of mangrove ecosystem management in Indonesia. Next, I will try this slide. Let me start from this Indonesia's strong commitment on achieving the target of climate change mitigation, which is stipulated in our nationally determined contribution, especially for the sector of forest and other land use, the FOLU sector. It is also has been stipulated in Indonesia ratification on the Paris Agreement. We also have a strong commitment that we also show it at the G20 Indonesia presidency, where our President Joko Widodo take all the world leaders to come to see the showcase of mangrove ecosystem restoration in Bali, Indonesia. We hope it is also will be in line with our achievement to the Sustainable Development Goals. Anyone here haven't seen mangrove trees? I think all participants, all delegates here already know what is mangrove. All participants here are experts on mangroves, I think. by this slide, I just would like to remind all of us that mangrove has specific characteristics, specific condition. So the mangrove trees need specific requirement to live. That's why we also need to have specific management for the mangrove trees, different from other trees. The specific character of the mangrove ecosystem is that it is live in tidal zones, very impacted by sea waves and other factors from the marine, and also impacted from the upper catchment of the watershed, and also many other challenges for the mangrove ecosystem. Therefore, we need to have to do specific and very accurate effort in mangrove ecosystem management. We also facing challenges in mangrove ecosystem degradation. Not also how about the statement, for instance, degradation of the mangrove ecosystem condition, decreasing of the mangrove areas, but also how the pressure and the drivers to the mangrove ecosystem. That's why we need to solve the problems regarding the pressure and the drivers to the mangrove ecosystem. We also, by restoring the mangrove ecosystem, we will not only would like to have the wet area of the mangroves, but also would like to have societal benefit, economic benefit to the community surrounding. Many benefits from the mangrove ecosystem we hope we can take from the mangrove that we already restored. Okay, next slide. This is the data of Indonesia national mangroves. Based on the map 2022, we have 3.39 million hectares of mangroves. It is about 23% of the world mangrove areas. And we can see at the right side, at the above, that is data from UNEP. We can see that how Indonesia's mangroves contribute in the whole area of mangrove in the world. And this is the data of existing mangroves in Indonesia and potential habitat of mangroves in Indonesia. By the data, we can see that almost 93% of the mangroves ecosystem are in good condition. So we need not only rehabilitation, but also conservation and protection. And at the below graphs, we can see that many potential habitat for our mangrove ecosystem in some provinces in Indonesia, particularly the area that already used for fish pond and abrasion area of braided land or of braided mangroves. That is the area that potential for our mangrove rehabilitation. And this is our framework of program of mangrove rehabilitation. And based on this program, we also develop our governance on mangrove ecosystem management. How we put or how we set as a target for mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia, which is already stipulated in our national development plan. We have 50,000 hectares to be rehabilitated by the plan. Not only will be done by Ministry of Environment and Forestry, but also by other ministries such as Ministry of Marine and Fishery, and also Indonesian Agency for Peatland and Mangrove Restoration. And the specific target for Ministry of Environment and Forestry is only is 6,000 hectares, and based on presidential regulation on the Agency of Peatland and Mangrove Restoration, we have target to rehabilitate 600,000 hectares of mangrove. How we can do that? Of course, it needs a very good cooperation among stakeholders. For concreting the effort on mangrove governance, we also established our national roadmap on mangrove rehabilitation 2021-2030. And it consists of 3 stages. The first stage is developing the enabling condition. The second stage is implementation of action. And the third stage is for the sustainability of the effort. For the first stage in developing the enabling condition, we develop policy development, institutional arrangement, including how we are now formulating our draft of government regulation on mangrove ecosystem protection and management. And we also have a special task force in the national and sub-national level for mangrove ecosystem protection and management. And some other effort, and at the implementation of action, we do not only conservation and rehabilitation, but we also making effort for community empowerment and how we connect the effort at the landscape level to the context of climate change mitigation, including to the scheme of mangrove economic value, carbon economic value. Carbon economic value. Okay, and by that stages, we develop our Indonesia governance on mangrove ecosystem management, and thanks God we are supported, very supported by the World Bank through the program of mangrove and mangrove for coastal resilience to develop the policy, to arrange the institution, and to do the mangrove rehabilitation at the field level. We do also facing some challenges.
You have 2 minutes left.
Okay, we think some countries also face some challenges, especially how we have to combine the effort on mangrove restoration as biophysical approach to how we also enhance social economic approach. That's how we combine how we need to give societal or economic benefit to the community. That's our main challenges, because if we not do the social economic approach, the biophysical approach will not solve the problems. And this is the draft of government regulation on mangrove ecosystem protection and management, where we make effort to divide the area into the protection and culture area, and we develop guideline for formulating the plan for at the national and sub-national level, and also how we solve the problem of mangrove ecosystem degradation. And this is the institutional arrangement where we think sub-national government's role is very important. So we established a guideline on the task force for the sub-national level of government for the mangrove ecosystem management. And this is the guideline on mangrove protection, conservation, and sustainable use, and mangroves rehabilitation, where we need not only planting the tree, but also how we combine it with civil engineering approach, and how we started with determining the proper location, the proper time, the proper planting pattern, so we have the sustainability of the mangrove trees will be achieved, and also maintaining after the planting. This is the data for mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia from 2019 to 2023. And this is the variety of implemented planting patterns. We can see that many different planting patterns here based on the area, the location, and the use that would like to have. For instance, for fishery and other use of the mangroves. And this is variety of activities of mangrove rehabilitation and benefits. For instance, for fishery and ecotourism. And this is the success story of mangrove ecosystem conservation and restoration. The last slide is regarding international cooperation, while Indonesia very committed. And yeah, at the end of the time. And we propose a resolution in UNIA, and it has been adopted at the UNIA for 2019, the resolution on mangrove, global mangrove, on mangrove. And we also have cooperation in ASEAN regional countries, in ASEAN, and we also supported by many countries. For instance, from Japan, Korea, German, Uni Arab Emirates, and of course from international organizations such as World Bank. That's all from me. Thank you. Indonesia Mangrove for the Earth, the people, and the world.
Thank you, Ms. Inga. Yeah, various aspects and program has been presented, Ibu Inga, including policy and institutional development. And right now we shift to Mr. Suweknyo from Peatland and Mangrove Restoration Board. I really expect you present development and challenge in implementing mangrove forest rehabilitation in the field. Thank you. Time is yours.
Baik, thank you Pak Sabaris. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the distinguished participant, Bu Dirjen, Pak Dirjen KSDAE, Pak Dirjen Planologi. Thank you for your invitation here, and I would like to present about acceleration of mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia. And I would like to focus on 3 major issues. First is related with ecosystem of mangrove, already presented by the previous presenter. And then maybe in the second approach, this is the approach or strategies on mangrove rehabilitations. And the third issue about the achievement and impact of our program. Well, I would like to jump to the slide first. Indonesian government have already made the high commitment in order to carry out the mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia. We have already mentioned by Ibu Dirjen that we have a target of 600,000 hectares until 2024. Okay. Well, I'd like to go to what is our strategy on accelerating mangrove rehabilitations. At least there are 4 strategies. The first one is that mangrove rehabilitation is part of the community welfare. So the involvement of local people is very important. The second part, that the collaborations among stakeholders is very, very important. So in this case, we have to support many collaboration that in the future, we have to build about that. The third part is that mangrove rehabilitation is part of the climate change. We have already known in this previous video. And the fourth is about the strengthening the regulations related with mangrove. And the last one is using various financial resources in order to speed up the mangrove rehabilitations. Then we have a strategy for implementing mangrove rehabilitations. Actually, there are 3 main strategies. This is to restore the already degraded mangrove, or to increase the moderate mangrove density, and also to maintain the good condition of mangrove. We have also have the strategy in improving the capacity of the people, and also strategy in the regulations or institutional strategy. Next, this is we call the integrated approach. We have already carried out in the Indonesian Agency of Mangrove and Pit Restoration. The 3 main strategy is the maintaining, increasing, and restoring. And we have also the strategy on the institutional approach. This is to strengthen the village community, the village government, in order to improve their participations and also to improve their involvement in carrying out the mangrove rehabilitations. We have also the strategy on improving the people. The people we have improved in the capacity. We have improved in educations and also in like the vet school for the local people. And also the last one is about the local livelihood. So we have also carried out some local livelihood in order to make the people is more have the participation in this program. Next, next thing. Okay, this is the concept of the institutional approach. You know that local government is in the village level. The smallest local government is in the village level. So we support the village government in order, what is one? This is the regulations, the local regulation through preserve mangrove. And also we support the local government in their planning. They have, we hope that the local government have involvement in carrying their mangrove rehabilitation. And also we to support the innovations of local people in mangrove rehabilitation. Next. And this is also our approach, educational approach on mangrove rehabilitations. So we foster the local government in order to implement the local policy, how education is part of their policy. So this is one example in Riau province, that in the 1st November, Mr. Governor have already launching education for the high school, education of mangrove in high school. Now, this is what we call it, the approach of mainstreaming mangrove educations in local government policy. And until now, there's some local government have already implemented about that. In Kuburaya, Kuburaya have already implemented mangrove and peatland in their curriculum. And this one, the Riau provinces, and the next maybe in South Kalimantan, and also the Dumai district. Okay, next. So, what is our achievement of mangrove rehabilitations? First, our achievement among the target is 600,000 until 2024. This is our achievement until this year. We have already carried out the mangrove rehabilitations, 41,615 hectares. This is involved the 1,047 groups of people, and this also involved about 38,230 people. This is our achievement. The next is the achievement or the what we call this village level. We have also already built around 300, what we call it, Desa Mandiri Peduli Mangrove. This is maybe the mangrove stewardships, like that. Okay. And this is the documentations of mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia. Okay. Some documentation. And lastly, I would like to say that at least there are 3 main points we have to go. First of all, let's we preserve mangrove together. And the second, if we have to build the collaboration among stakeholders in order to succeed mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia. And I think the last one is we have to preserve mangrove for future life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You spend 8 minutes. You have to. According to Pak Suweknyo mentioned, mangrove rehabilitation actually facing various obstruction. In my opinion, economic point of view perhaps can be addressed to solve the problem as a strategic way out. And I give Mr. Maurice Andreas Rollins to present their idea. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Saparis, and my greetings to the esteemed panel. I'm really quite pleased to be in such good company this afternoon to talk about mangroves, and in fact I feel a bit out of place. Everyone's so nicely dressed and I'm in a boring suit, but nonetheless, thank you for inviting the World Bank to participate in this discussion about governance around mangrove restoration. And so before I get into it, let me start by congratulating the government of Indonesia for its commitment to sustainably manage and protect its mangrove ecosystem under the National Mangroves Rehabilitation Agenda, and its really ambitious target of scaling up mangrove coverage across Indonesia. And so as a contribution to the discussion on governance, I want to talk about how we use economic analysis to help inform decision making with respect to where you do your mangrove conservation, where you prioritize this, and where you prioritize your restoration as well. And so we partnered together with the Ministry of Environment and Forestry and the Peatlands and Mangroves Restoration Agency to do this study in 2022, which is called The Economics of Large-Scale Mangroves Conservation and Restoration in Indonesia. And the report is available online if you'd like to have a look at it. We have a very short executive summary so you can read it tonight. when you get back. All right, so we talked quite a lot in the two previous presentations about why mangroves are important, so I wouldn't spend too much time on it, and let me go straight to talking about the benefits, the economic benefits that we were able to assess from mangroves in Indonesia. And so we found that, that shoreline protection from climate-related disasters and other kinds of disasters such as storms, tsunamis, help to reduce flood risk, inundation and erosion. And in fact, the protection services that are provided by mangroves in Indonesia are worth about 243 million US dollars annually. Mangroves, of course, play a crucial role in the lives and livelihoods of Indonesia's coastal communities, being an important source of income and food sources. So I think you know a lot of this already. And so these are some results from the analysis that we were able to do, where we were able to work out the value of mangroves on a per hectare basis, and this is on an annual per hectare basis. And so what we found is that on average, mangroves in Indonesia provide about 15,000 US dollars per hectare per year in terms of economic benefits, right? These benefits, they vary by ecosystem service, and so coastal protection, for example, is the largest value of benefit. Climate regulation, fishery support, raw materials provision are other types of benefits. And we also see how spatially the benefits differ, right? And so in Bali, for example, we come close to 50,000 US dollars per hectare per year in terms of benefits. And so understanding this spatial distribution of the economic benefits of decision making, of ecosystem services is a really important asset and input to decision making on where you want to prioritize your efforts for conservation, for restoration, because as we all know, resources are scarce, right? And we can't do everything everywhere. And so the prioritization is really quite important. So, of course, in 2020, we learned from the previous presenters that Indonesia made a bold commitment to restore 600,000 hectares of degraded mangroves. However, achieving the target would cost estimated 1.6 billion US dollars to meet this rehabilitation target. And so the strategy for doing this really needs to be quite important and informed. And so this report that we did used economic analysis, and it used spatial economic analysis to really help the Indonesian government come up with a strategy for its mangrove restoration. And so these are some of the results from the report. And so the report contains several of these maps, and there are different maps of the economic benefits provided by ecosystem services in terms of present value, in terms of benefit to cost ratios, etc. And the maps show disaggregation by districts, and so it really helps us to understand on a district by district basis where are those valuable areas across Indonesia for prioritizing restoration. And so mangrove protection and sustainable management of mangroves has a higher benefit cost ratio due to the steep initial cost for restoration and the time it takes to deliver on the benefits from restoring mangroves. And of course, there is the opportunity cost as well involved in restoration. And so from the figure, you can see the top figure, you'll see some darker areas of green, right? And so these darker areas of green and the sort of the second order area of green is indicative of the higher benefit to cost ratios you get from conservation versus the chart on the bottom, which shows the benefit to cost ratios for restoration. And these are higher for conservation versus restoration, which is saying that, that it's more cost effective to do conservation versus restoration. But I think this is a message that many of us know already. It's sort of common sense that that conservation would make more sense. But when you look at the comparison of the values, that's the thing that's really quite important. difference we see across the Indonesian landscape as well in terms of where mangroves are, in terms of the benefit to cost ratios, are also quite telling about where we may want to focus restoration efforts. And so we see, for example, in an area like Papua, very high benefit to cost ratios here, and so these areas for both conservation and restoration are likely to be those areas that you want to focus on more versus areas like Sumatra, Bali, where the benefit to cost ratios are much lower. You get less cost effectiveness from these areas, and so again, these maps, when you combine them with present value maps, when you combine them with opportunity cost maps, really help us to understand where we would want to focus our efforts in terms of restoration. And so a key message coming from the analytical work that we did was that an efficient mix of mangrove restoration and conservation activities is needed. And of course, the conservation of mangroves should be prioritized as a first order and then restoration to come after. And so we came up with a number of policy recommendations from this study. The first is to ensure that restoration practices and financing include adequate provisions for long-term management and monitoring, including funding for midterm corrections and to increase restoration success rates. So the upfront capital cost for restoration is not the only cost that's involved. There needs to be significant effort on operation and maintenance and significant support for the communities that are engaged in these restoration efforts and conservation efforts. The second recommendation is to maximize the labor contribution in restoration, and so to promote those methodologies that create as many jobs as possible for local communities.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes, okay, almost finished. So expanding labor-intensive coastal and marine restoration activities, including mangrove restoration, coastal cleanups. These can provide employment opportunities for coastal communities, and as well by involving these communities in the restoration activities, important emotional bonds between the mangroves and communities could be established, which is a really important part of the overall management of these mangrove landscapes as well. We need to continue strengthening the evidence base, data maps, etc., for improved enforcement and mangrove management. And this could include finalizing the Mangrove One Map to ensure an accepted and consistent whole-of-government understanding of the extent, quality, and trends in mangroves. And further, natural capital accounting can support marine and coastal policies by providing standardized data on the status and economic values of natural assets and how these assets are affected by human activity. Indonesia, of course, was one of the pioneers working with the World Bank on natural capital accounting, and we do encourage the Indonesian government to continue working on blue carbon accounting for Indonesia. So fourth, it's important to explore complementary policies such as implementing a mangrove moratorium, and it would be important to explore the current moratorium on issuing licenses to convert primary forest and peatlands to possibly include mangroves as well. And finally, as I mentioned, it's important to think about payments for blue carbon, and so this would mean a need to prioritize development of methodology, approaches, MRV, etc., for blue carbon. And so in closing, two key takeaways I'd like to leave you with is the importance of conservation. Restoration is important as well, but conservation is really quite important as a cost-effective measure. And then the second key takeaway is that not all mangroves have the same economic benefits. The benefits differ spatially, and so it's really quite important to use tools like present value maps, opportunity cost maps, benefit to cost ratio maps to help us understand those districts across Indonesia that are really quite important for prioritizing conservation efforts, for prioritizing restoration efforts. And so we were really quite pleased to support the development of the the M4CR project. And in fact, this analytical work, I understood, fed into that project as well. So it's good to see the analytical work translating into policy and practice. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice presentation. Yesterday, many speakers talk about the landscape, and also my colleagues has just talk about the landscape. In my opinion, landscape is strongly in line with interrelationship between land attributes, including community in the field. And I think my colleagues from Kacamata University, Dr. Wawan, can present the role of community engagement in mangrove rehabilitation. And the time is yours, Pak Wawan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Savaris. Ladies and gentlemen, basically what I would like to present in this last opportunity is the story from the field, the story from the grassroots, the story what actually happening in the community in Indonesia when we talk about the benefit or the usefulness of the mangrove to the community. I do myself believe after try to explore and to understand and the engagement of the community in the mangrove area that this forest on the coastal area could be the new sources of welfareism of the people. So that's why my presentation basically is on from rehabilitation to welfare. To what extent actually in the mangrove, our effort in order to preserve and also to rehabilitate the mangrove could then, as Ibu Inge, as Bapak Wiknyo, could then benefit to our people in a very essential way. Not only in terms of the theoretical way, but in a more empirical way. And I will take two tales or two stories from the small village in Bali. Why Bali is important? I will just skip this one. The Bali mangrove areas, actually it's not the big one. It's just small one, but very meaningful. To what extent? First, we all know that during the G20 summit meeting just last years, no, 2 years ago, that the Bali become a very important venue, and one of the most showcase that present by the government is the successfulness of the mangrove rehabilitation and the conservation in that area. And also at that time, as Ibu Inge already mentioned, the President of Indonesia invite all the leaders that join the meeting to see the real mangrove area, the kind of nursery area that prepared by the Ministry of Environment and Forest to see how this mangrove process, I mean the plantation of mangrove can start from zero to something that really kind of a good place for the forest one. And the second one, the national government, as long as I know, currently try to develop the new center for research and also conservation of mangrove, kind of the global research and a global conservation for the mangrove area. So I think this place will be very important when we talk about to what extent then in the future the mangrove can be, as our previous speaker mentioned, to be part of the most effort for the climate change. And the third one that I can learn from Bali actually is the successful story of rehabilitation and conservation basically involve community in a very strong way as well. So in my opinion, the role of government is very important for sure. The role of international organization like World Bank, international donor is very important as well. But never forget that the role of community will be very important as well. In what extent and the role of community? This is the two stories that I would like to tell you all. The first story actually coming from the west part, west coast of Bali, in a small village called Budeng, in the Jembrana district, around 3 hours from Denpasar. And this area, before or up to 2007, actually it's kind of a fish-borne area in the coastal area. And for sure, when we talk about the fish-borne in Indonesia, especially in the coastal area, it must or it's supposed to involve a very big capital, small or few people who control, and the local people only become kind of a labor with a small amount of money that they can get every month. But after 2007, especially after one of the state-owned enterprise or state-owned company in Indonesia, the Ngurah Rai airport or airport management, because of the Ngurah Rai. Ngurah Rai is an international airport in Bali, and at that time the government planned to expand the area, and the expansion of this area must take some forest area in that area. But the Angkasa Pura, the name of the company, must substitute this area, replace this area, and then this company bought the area in this village, and from there, supported by the Ministry of Forest and Environment, Watershed, Directorate General of Watershed and Land Rehabilitation, try to grow this area to become a new mangrove. And only few people at that time in that area that really interest to this project, only 10 people. Other fellow villagers just say, you are crazy, why then you be part of this one? Well, this area actually just empty because of
Two
the
minutes
fish pond.
left, please.
But at that time, this group of people just working and working, then there is some successfulness in this area. And currently, this group of people are very successful to develop community-based economic kind of cooperation, something like that. And the ministry give this group a kind of what we call as a social forestry area, giving the people the access to manage this area. So it's another good willingness from the national government to give opportunity to people in this area to be part of this thing. And many activities there, but the most important thing that we can learn from this small area, from this Budeng area, three aspects. First one, the local hero always important. The local tokoh or the local actor will be very important when we discuss about the importance of the community. The leadership from the grassroots always important. I mean, in the future, if we would like to kind of develop a good project of rehabilitation, never left or never leave local people behind. If they can be part of this project from the start, the successfulness will be kind of a guarantee as well, actually. That's the first thing, what we can learn. The second thing is, we can really find the governance in practice, not the governance in theory. What is the governance in practice, in my perspective, or in from these cases? Actually, the close collaboration between the national government, local government, supported by probably some company, both nationally or internationally as well could be, and also the importance of the people. And why then people believe to this kind of thing? There is two aspects actually. First, in Bali, people still believe the connection between the human and the nature. They have a very strong kind of a concept of harmony, of living. They call as a Trihita Karana. Trihita Karana is kind of the harmony. Three aspects of harmony. Harmony between people and people, harmony people with nature, and harmony between people and the God. And this kind of thing are really helpful when we talk about the successfulness of this kind of rehabilitation. Even in some area in Bali, even in mangrove forest, there is a small kind of a temple when people can go and give kind of a kind of a gift to the god, something like that. Yeah. So these three aspects from the community perspective can be really, really important. Outside, for sure, the sources, the mangrove as the new sources of the livelihood. The same thing we can find in other or in the second case, yeah. This case actually not far away from the Ngurah Rai Airport for the second one, in the kind of a forest park or tahura we call in Indonesia.
You over the time.
Yes, we will. I will very quick on this. But the successfulness of this program actually started from 1990s, supported by the international donor, especially the JICA. And from there, the national government then tried to replace the resource from the JICA with some government program. So again, in this regard, we can see when we need kind of a sustainability of the program, we cannot just finish in one project, then just close it, but from one project, we need to continue with another project with a different resources. And a similar thing from this area that we can learn. This is very beautiful area, so for all of you all who never visit Bali, when you visit Bali, you have to visit this place and to see how the community can really be part of this kind of thing. The last one, Mr. Moderator, what lesson learned that we can take from this small story of mangrove rehabilitation and the community engagement? First, I do believe, or we have to believe, that a successful mangrove rehabilitation and conservation could lead to creation of new welfareism. Actually, our people at the grassroots level, they really need new sources of livelihood, and mangrove in the coastal area could be these new resources. That's the first thing that we have to believe all together. The second one is the importance of a collaborative approach, including so many actors that I already mentioned, including the community engagement. And the last one, the importance of a combination approach for the mangrove rehabilitation. First one, the provision kind of a concrete and direct benefit for community during the rehabilitation. So inviting people to be part for the plantation process is important, because from there people will get money directly. And from there people will believe that this project will be really beneficiary for them. The second one is the transformation of livelihood after the rehabilitation. And in this way, mangrove forest, especially from the Ngurah Rai Park, we can see can be new common pool of resources. And the last one, strengthening a community-based institution for mangrove management, it seems, or it could be, a very important pillar for the sustainability of this effort. By then, thank you very much.
Thank you. Applause to my colleagues. Thank you for best practice explanation from the field. And we got different perspective from social and political scientists like my colleague Pak Wawan. Right now we are going to Q&A session, question and answer question. And we have 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I think, please, from audience who want to give a question from 4 presenters here. Perhaps, oh yeah, Ibu. Please tell your name, where are you from, and to whom.
My name is Tami from Indonesia. I've traveled quite a lot just to see the experience and the practices of mangroves all around Indonesia, and it's really give me a feeling that mangrove is not only about the economic things, but the most important thing that, so for example, when we go to the Hutan Perempuan, the special mangrove forest for women. There, if there is no mangrove, there is no women's strength. And I also have found the different variety of culture and sociocultural in Indonesia in terms of forest mangrove management. So if we are talking about the mangrove here, I think it is very important for us to emphasize the role of women, the role of community, and how all of the things really can match of the empowerment of the community. So for example, if you are talking about the carbon trade, how really the carbon trade can mix and match with the community. If you are talking about the, you mentioned about the research, how research is really based on the needs of the community. So I really want to to pronounce this. For Indonesia, mangrove is not only about the climate, but mangrove is the pillars of socio-cultural, ecology, and economics. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm from Guinea, Conakry. Guinea, Conakry. I want to know if your experience, Indonesian experience, if you can share that in West African countries. But in my country, we have forests, we have mangrove forest. Now the forest is reduced year by year about anthropic causes. But if you want, I want to show you to need the Indonesian experience to show in my country, if you can.
You mean to replicate in your country? Our experience?
I'm Frenchman. I speak French.
Okay.
We from in French country.
We understood.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And the third one? Okay. Yeah. Oh, my colleagues from Austria. Yeah.
I'm so happy to see many faces which are familiar to me. I'm Lena Michenkova. I've been here for the second day in your pavilion, and it's amazing to hear all the stories. You are so advanced, guys, in many aspects in mangrove reforestation. So my question would be like this. I'm talking to many countries, including West Africa countries these days, and they are learning so much from Indonesia. So my question would be probably to Madame Retnowati and probably to Professor Masudi. You have done so much. You have achieved so much, and the whole world is learning from you. Is there anything you feel as the largest challenge which you would like to direct to international community to help you with? Because this is an international forum, and it could be there are some people who are willing to help you, because you are helping so much in so many aspects to other countries who want to restore mangroves. Thank you.
And the last one? The fourth? Oh.
Thank you. My name is Desiré Somé. I come from Burkina Faso. Say that my country don't access it for in sea, don't have sea. But the topic is very interesting because you speak for a rehabilitation of mangrove. Also to Burkina, we have very action to rehabilitation forest, which is very domain of people activities. So I am very impressed by the presentation and the initiative that were taken to maintain the mangroves. It was being very well said that mangrove is constitutes a special ecosystem with extraordinary biodiversity. It's very important to precise this. We have extraordinary biodiversity into mangrove. I want to know how you can tell me what is the commitment of the population to support the project. This is my question. Thank you very much.
I think for question first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie from Ghana. So my question will be, can you give me like two plant species that is actually best for mangrove rehabilitation, please. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I think it's enough. Yeah, we have 5 questions, and I think all of question addressed to all of presenters. Therefore, the first I give Ibu Inge to answer 5 questions.
Thank you, Dr. Saparis, and thank you all the participants for the questions. I will answer from the view of government, from the view of the policymaker, how we develop system or instruments that we can make sure that approach to the community, engagement to the engagement of the community is important point in this big effort. So in our policy development, we develop a specific guideline on how we have to safeguard to make sure that that we concern to the community situation, and also concern to the local knowledge, local culture, and local wisdom. It is integrated in the guideline, and we make sure that it has been safeguarding how the process of the rehabilitation program or conservation program concern to their livelihood, concern to their culture, and involve them into the effort. And I would like to add that we also develop some approach, some specific approach to develop the awareness, to educate the community surrounding the mangrove ecosystem until the village level. And I think our colleague, Pak Wikyo from BRGM, from National Agency for Peatland and Mangrove Restoration could explain it more detailed. I thank you.
Setelah saya tutup Pak Sapres 17.20, berarti nanti fotonya di...
Thank you. I'd like to add some information that approach on the mangrove rehabilitation in Indonesia. First is about what is your concern in local people, local knowledge. Yes, in our approach, besides the main approach, this is planting mangrove, there are also institutional approach. I mean the village approach. So we developed what we call village stewardship mangrove, Desa Mandiri Peduli Mangrove. And this is our approach because there are so many different cultures, and we will involve the local government, this is the village government, involved in mangrove rehabilitations. We also foster the local regulations. This is, we call it the Peraturan Desa, this is village regulations in order to preserve mangrove. And also the educational approach. I think this is one of our approach, and you know that in mangrove rehabilitation, the people or the farmer groups is what we call it the center or the actor. This is the main actor of the mangrove rehabilitations. And the second one is about the what kind of mangroves that we have to plant. It depends on the locations, it depends on the conditions. In Indonesia, mostly we plant the Rhizopora mangrove. Rhizopora is like that. Mostly Rhizopora. And actually, the kind of mangrove, it depends on. If usually in the front line, I mean that near the sea, we should plant the Avicennia. Avicennia is the like Avicennia and Rhizopora, like that. Okay, I think, thank you.
Okay, so just a quick intervention on the question about how communities can benefit, right? And specifically when we talk about carbon. So Indonesia has fantastic recent experience on developing benefit sharing mechanisms for communities to benefit from carbon schemes, right? And so these projects are being done in terrestrial forest, but the same principles for benefit sharing could be applied in coastal areas as well, where once carbon emissions are generated, blue carbon emissions are generated from mangroves, that there is a framework in place already for distributing those payments. So I think you save quite a lot of time because you've done quite a bit of homework on that already. And just to the point on the knowledge sharing, I quite agree that Indonesia has quite fantastic experiences, and so I think could be a center of excellence, an emerging center of excellence for work on mangroves. And so this is something that that the World Bank can take back as we leave the COP. That we can put more effort into helping the Indonesian government to share its experiences, its lessons, its knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A quick response for some question. First, Ibu, indeed, a local group, a local community, especially the women, is very important when we talk about the new benefit of this mangrove area. Especially in this local community, the livelihood of the men and the women is quite different. For the men, most of them, they will go to the sea and then taking for the kind of a fish or something like that, correct? But for the women group, they will, what I can say, the product, from the mangrove plantation, there is some product that people can develop from there. Yeah, and women play important role in this regard. No, I mean, if we would like to improve the capacity of the community, improving the capacity of this group of women will be very important as well. So they can do kind of a production from this mangrove plantation area. And this response actually related to the challenge that Ibu Lena from Austria asked. What is the new challenge that we face? First, from the community perspective, the institution of the economy at the local level is very important. Some economic activities already there, but most of them are still subsistence or small-scale economy. Bring them into the market, into a bigger supply chain production will be really, really helpful if we would like to kind of improve the living condition of the people in this area. So empowerment means developing more economic capacity in many ways. That's the first challenge that we need to address in this area. But there is already some success story, and from there we can do kind of a pilot project and then try to inspire other people. And that's the first challenge. The second challenge actually, the asymmetrical way of the government. What I mean, at the national level, the national government have a very strong commitment when we talk about the climate change, when we talk about the importance of the environment in our government strategy. But unfortunately, not all this vision of the national government fully transfer or fully adopted by the government at the subnational level. In this regard, the provincial level and the city level or a district level. So there is kind of a gap of knowledge, gap of vision, and gap of a commitment between the national government and the government at the subnational level. It will be our another challenge if we would like to make it all these programs successful. So at the national level, the commitment already there, but at the subnational, some challenge still there. So let's do this kind of thing so we can do kind of a...
We have limited time. So.
Yes, kind of a symmetrical plan from the national, subnational, and also the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually, we have one specific question about how to replicate mangrove governance can be replicated in Africa. And I think strongly in line with bureaucracy. Therefore, I ask Ibu Inge and my colleagues, political scientists, to answer. You have 2 minutes to answer. Mr. Kini, yes, right? Your name, from Kini?
Yeah, from Kini.
Yeah,
from Kini.
Yeah, Ibu Inge, please. Present just 1 minute and 1 minute by my colleagues, political scientists.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to answer regarding how to replicate the effort which has been done in Indonesia to other countries. The first one we should concern is about the structure of regulation and development planning. How we develop how we formulate the plan for development, because we need to integrate the effort into the development, economic development part. So please integrating the effort of mangrove ecosystem management into the development plan of your countries. And the second one is how we arrange the institution, not only at the subnational level, I agree with you, Doctor, also in the subnational level until the village level. Please know very well the condition of community at the location of the mangrove ecosystems. That's important part to be concerned, to be taken into account at the effort of mangrove management. We can talk after this outside of this world.
My colleagues, political scientists.
Very quick.
Yeah,
No country, there is no country is similar or the same. No community is the same as well. But we can inspire each other. The thing that we can offer actually, we can invite people from many countries to visit Indonesia, supported by the World Bank, for example, or other international community. And from there, we can inspire each other. And I think a lot of things that we can learn from Africa as well. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Applause for all of us. It is, I think it's very interesting session and interesting discussion. And due to limit time, I don't have any opportunity to conclude and wrap up. And I think I decided to end the session, and I give back the stage to the MC. Applause for all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind attention.